back. WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. The shirt out front should tell you that we're all in this together during the pandemic and doing our thing around here and bringing friends together. And I actually visited one of this guy's friends. These glasses I have, I broke my reading glasses, so my friends over at Visionary Eye have been helping me out. And but I've had friends of friends and recommendations, and really the reason he looks at my eyes and Brian Granick is because of you, Jared Goldstein. How are you today, man? I want to welcome you back in here in my clouded up glasses. It said next time we get together, your buddy Granick's going to have my reflective free ones, so I don't look like a lizard on the webcam. How you been?
I'm doing well considering the circumstances. I'm hanging in there, keeping myself busy.
Well, you have come to me. Well, I had you on a couple weeks ago, and you were so awesome in helping my wife with physical therapy. I mean, you're a physical therapist. We've been friends. We've had cookies together and wings together and beer together and shared friendship. And you've helped me with some PT, but more specifically with my wife. And this pandemic has become one of these things where I'm wearing a mask and gloves. I had an emergency appointment over at Visionary Eye in Owings Mills literally on Monday. I had to move our segment because I had an emergency thing where my glasses broke, right? And physical care, doctor care, my dentist who I haven't gone and seen for my teeth cleaning. We've had a lot of medical folks on here the last couple of weeks, including the folks running the hospitals preparing for COVID. Every single thing about healthcare, the way we've ever done it, is going to change right here, right now, in the way healthcare, including getting your temperature taken in your ear as you enter the next disco, the next ball game, the next theater, the next library. We're about to go through truly a transformation in healthcare in this country, right?
We are, and things are changing in every direction. And obviously, telemedicine has become a mainstream term. It's been around a long time and has not been utilized to its fullest extent at all. But it is going to change healthcare for the future, absolutely, moving forward.
Well, what are you doing? I mean, the last I checked in with you, my wife was so into doing the cryo thing. And my pal Victor Brick has been trying to get me into the tub of ice water every morning. And I see football players doing it. And, I know you were doing some stuff there. And certainly anything that can make your body feel better, especially after an injury. And I think the last time you were on, we talked about my 4 months in hell in the summer of 2006 with my knee. But having to do that sort of thing at home now, watching a video, or my wife's been doing video yoga right here in the studio, everything's going online. Tell me what you can do online here and what you're going to be doing that, let's say, you did for my wife and her shoulder 2-3 years ago when she had frozen shoulder after 2 leukemia battles.
Sure. And just to reference, Cryo Maryland will be back once we kind of re-enter into our new normal. We'll still have Cryo Maryland. But for Virtual Health PT, we are a virtual physical therapy practice. And for instance, with Jen, your wife, and her shoulder, she had a frozen shoulder. There, the thing we heard all the time, or I heard from all my colleagues, is how can you do this remotely? How can you do it over an iPad or a phone or a laptop? And I would say, trust me, I've been doing this 20 plus years. There's about 80% of our population we can treat while they're sitting at home.
And especially if they have a good video camera, right? Like if you can see them. I mean, let's be honest. If you're in the office right now, the 6-foot rule, right? I mean, touching would be a more difficult thing, and obviously inside of clinics and what we're about to go through, what we're seeing Georgia and Texas and these folks try this week, which is getting in a room. If I could get 90% of the benefit. And I'm sure you're going to tell me you can get 101%, and that's cool. But if I could get 90, I think where I am and where my wife's immune-compromised situation would be, I'd feel better about a virtual anything right now than I would even going over to see Brian. I would do that. I would prefer my wife do that on, virtually than go and see and be touched by someone right now, right?
100%. And all those people, many of them were calling me when COVID hit on how do we do it. So, although they may have been naysayers, they all came around and they understand it now, and they're all doing it in their practices, many of them. But, a lot of people are doing it different ways. We do it on a very secure HIPAA platform. But someone like Jen with the shoulder, absolutely. There are a lot of things we could be doing for her while she's at the comfort of her home or her office. You know, if it was you at your office, you know, PT offices are open. They're not getting many visits. People are being smart. They're staying away. And yes, it's very difficult to do hands-on work without being within, you know, a couple inches, let alone feet.
Well, I'm trying to think of what the hands-on was. I mean, honestly, like I went through knee. I had chondromalacia. So, I mean, I don't need to tell you what I went through. Me and Steve Luke up there in Bel Air, you know, I went up there in a lot of pain. And it was always, you know, stim, the thing that shakes you around, that gives you the heebie-jeebies and makes you kind of giggle on the inside, and then we go stretch and bend and stretch and lift and break up, and I scream and I swear at him, and then he puts ice on and I go home and hope that I feel better. You know,
right. And that stim that you were getting, that's a feel-good thing, right? That's not solving anything. So there's really, you know, it does feel good. It's kind of a customer service thing that therapists use. It's not changing all that much. Obviously, with Cryo Maryland, I'm a big proponent of ice, so you can obviously ice from home, and then plenty of stretches, strengthening, you know, stability exercises that you can be doing for your knees and shoulders. We can do it two different ways. We can do it live with what's called synchronous, when we're kind of taking you right through it, or asynchronous, which would be where you're kind of filming Jen and send it over to me, and at your leisure. My leisure.
So you could say, am I doing it the right way?
Exactly. So we'll always be in touch. And our platform allows that. But, you know, first couple times, we're obviously going to do it all synchronous. And the beauty of it is we'll prescribe the whole program for you. You do it. We check in as needed. You're probably actually going to come to less, quote-unquote, virtual visits than you would in a brick-and-mortar clinic, because we're going to take care of everything for you, and you can communicate throughout. And whatever the body part is, we can address it. There are going to be a few instances that, you know, will be tough to do virtually. If you have a fresh ACL tear or a fresh rotator cuff tear, we may not see you the first week virtually. Thereafter, we absolutely can.
Jared Goldstein is here. He's been my friend for a number of years doing PT, now doing Virtual Health PT, virtualhealthpt.com. You can find him on LinkedIn and through friends, and we have a bunch of mutual friends in and around Baltimore. And the thing that links all of us together, and when I think of you and sort of the genesis of our friendship, was sitting out at Buffalo Wild Wings on Owings Mills, eating wings, drinking beer, watching sports, right? And your Maryland background, and Maryland not having a Final Four, certainly not having lacrosse season right now, baseball, all these things. Then the NFL is going to pretend to put a schedule out this week, and I'm going to pretend that I'm flying to Houston sometime this fall, and I don't know where this is all going, but the sports part of this being taken away, man, this is where it's getting a little weird, the Michael Jordan stuff and all this, and no Orioles games. So this month, because I've been challenged by everybody, but finally Dave Geller got me to buy into this, that I'm doing albums this month. I think you and I are Facebook friends, so they wanted to do the top 10 albums with no words, and I'm like, first off, I'm a writer. I mean, I was a music critic. I'm not just going to put up the cover of Pyromania and not say anything. So I'm doing 31 albums. I'm doing an album a day because there's no sports. There's no sports for me to watch. So, and it's stimulating some conversation, and everybody has different musical tastes. And it's really about where you grew up, how old you are, and what your parents were about, probably, right? And the friends you kept. But I'm asking people albums. Did you get challenged or did you not? You're Long Island, right?
I am Long Island, and I know you have Springsteen on there. You know I'm going to have the Stones. But, yeah, I am Long Island.
All right. Well, how old are you? You're a little younger than me, right?
Yeah, I'm mid-40s.
Yeah, all right. So I'm trying to think of where you're going to be. I mean, Long Island in that era, I'm thinking like Twisted Sister, right? Like I'm thinking that, right? Am I wrong?
You got some of that, Twisted Sister, Motley Crue, going way back.
Okay, I mean, so I'm not wrong about where you stand in the rock and roll cosmos. I mean, Rolling Stones were sort of an entry drug to Priest.
Yeah.
And all sorts of other things. Well, I'm doing 31 albums, and, so I'm going through this. I'm trying to pass the sports time by doing other reminiscences. And you know why I'm doing this? Because like 2 weeks ago, I said, no sports right now. We're all missing sports, but we all have music, even though we don't have concerts. And a lot of people, like bands, are doing sit-ins. I mean, Garth Brooks is doing this with Trisha Yearwood. All of my musician buddies are passing the cup. Ray Bachman's doing trivia every Saturday night. So music is still there when sports isn't. And I ask people, what has meant more to you in your life, sports or music? And almost universally, even the people that were athletes for long stretches of time say that music has been a more lifetime companion than sports to them, if they had to pick one or the other.
Definitely as an adult, in their 40s, 50s, I would absolutely agree with you at this time in my life.
It's a companion.
As much as I love watching my daughters out on the field and following my Terps and Yankees and Ravens and all that, and like I said, my daughters come first on the field, but yeah, more currently, absolutely music.
Well, break your heart to know that I had a flight tomorrow night. My wife, first off, it's Mother's Day week. It's my wife. I don't have a mother. I've lost all of my mothers. But my wife was going to visit her mother down in South Florida, and Peter and I, we had a 4.5-day junket in Southern California. We were flying into L.A. He's never been. He's scared to death to fly. I was going to take him to the Staples Center. He was hoping that the Lakers would be playing playoff games this week, and they would have been, right? I was going to take him to Orange County, take him down to Laguna Beach. We were going to hit fish tacos. Because he doesn't eat food. And we were going to go to Jack Murphy Stadium and see the Stones shake their ass on Friday night. I was going to see my cousin in Carlsbad. Dude, I mean, this thing's starting to cost us. I don't mean to tell you, man. I mean,
Nashville in a couple of weeks to see him.
Yeah, I had 4 shows. We had Louisville, we had Atlanta, we had Pittsburgh, and I had San Diego. And they were all spaced out like 3-4 weeks apart. I had cheap flights, cheap hotel rooms. And you know what we're doing? My wife and I have decided that instead of going to the Preakness next Saturday, which we can't do, we're going to spend Preakness Day, or a portion thereof, dressed up in idiot suits, and we're going to sit here and go through our rock and roll memorabilia and tell rock and roll stories. So that's what we're going to do Preakness Day. Well, I'm doing 31 albums in 31 days, so in the middle, by the time I get to... I don't want to give too much away, but I'll be right up in that Van Halen REM period by the time we get to Preakness Day. So, yeah, there'll be lots to talk about music-wise, and there's no sports to talk about other than the Michael Jordan thing, which, I watched him win. I don't need to see. I got enough of Jordan,
Right.
I've been there and done that.
It's been tough. It's been tough with the lack of it, for sure.
All right, we'll just break out some Women and Children first or something, or some Fair Warning, and crank up some Van Halen. And if you're
there you go.
Well, you see, you'll start to think I'm a David Lee Roth guy if I start to mention those albums. But
right.
Tell everybody where to find you and what you're doing, because you're online all day. You're a Zoom guy right now, right?
Yeah, well, we use actually a different platform from Zoom because, it's just more secure, and we don't want interruptions and anyone jumping in on our session, for sure. So we are more secure than that, but we are virtualhealthpt.com. Treat all types of orthopedic injuries, any nagging injury, low back pain. We can take care of all of it.
All right, brother. Well, I'm feeling good. I'm stretching out. I'm working out because I don't want to have to come see you virtually or otherwise. Next time you and I get together, I want to be jamming the Mick and the Stones and eating something good and drinking something cold. So hang in there, man, and enjoy my 31 albums as they're coming out, brother. All right?
Looking forward to it. Give my best to Jen.
You got it. Jared Goldstein took great care of my wife. You can find them 1-800-484-5570, or just find him at virtualhealthpt.com. He's been a friend for a long time, and will take good care of you. And by the way, Jared, you still there, or did you hang up on me? You still there?
I'm here.
So my wife will tell you that for the very first time last week, she started doing yoga. Today was day 30. She got her left shoulder flat to the floor and can do the full, touchdown signal for the first time in years. She had it unlock on her like 5 days ago, and every day she gets up on the refrigerator and does the stretches you taught her, and she marvels that for the first time in years, she has full, literally probably 99% mobility with that arm. So
love it.
There you go.
All from home.
And she's been working it, and the yoga has helped. One of the reasons she didn't get on the mat with me was because she didn't have full mobility. I'm like, you should get on and do what you can do, and go to the point of not hurt, but go to the point of stretch. And she's like, it's hot, it's demanding. So she never went to class with me. And she started doing this Yoga Adrian thing on YouTube a month and a half ago, and she's 30 classes in. And about class 25, 26, she popped it, she stretched it and got mobility, and she's like, oh my God, it's like a miracle. And this happened this week. We're 6.5 years now, or 6 years and a month out on her first cancer journey.
Right.
So there you go, man.
She's a fighter for sure.
Well, I mean, but PT works. PT works. And I remember Nils Lofgren, to bring a little rock and roll into this, when Nils got both of his hips done, I remember him saying this to me in an interview, literally, in an interview on the air. It's a life sentence, is what he said. He said, my doctor told me it's a life sentence to do the physical therapy every day, that if I want to be a musician and be on a band and be on a bus and be on a plane and be in the world's greatest rock and roll band, that I have my hips replaced, and that's cool, but every day. It doesn't take a day off. It's every day. You got to think of yourself as an athlete, right?
Worst thing we can do is be sedentary. Yep. The more we move, the better the body will be.
You got to move. That's why we got to get Mick back, right?
Exactly.
There he goes, Jared Goldstein. He is our friend at VirtualHealthPT.com. Find them out there, and they'll get you some virtual health. So, yeah. When you get older, you get real stories of being broken down and being a beaten-up old catcher from the Berkshire and the Eastwood Little League. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. My rock and roll albums are up there at WNST.net. All of my conversations with mayoral candidates, with education leaders. My God, we're having great conversations around here. I'm even eating Taharka ice cream for fun because it tastes good. We are WNST.net, AM 1570. We are keeping calm. We're staying local, which is why we're eating Taharka ice cream. I'm out of Honey Graham. Send Honey Graham, Steve. And we're Baltimore positive.